Hey YouTubers, VCers, Tony here. Tony's LPs are us. I'm holding up one of the most important singles ever processed, ever produced, ever made, ever recorded, ever sold. That is Do They Know It's Christmas. This was a fundraiser that was the brainchild, I believe, of originally Bob Geldof and maybe some others in the UK. But Do They Know It's Christmas feed the world, and everyone's on this record just about. If you could see there, you could freeze out the names. This is a 12-inch single, which is from Columbia Records in the US. Not sure what label it was on in the UK, but it says all proceeds of this record are to assist famine relief in Ethiopia. This includes merchandise, sales, publishing, and performance contributions. And everyone on here is from Adam Clayton to Paul McCartney, David Bowie, Boy George, Simon Crowe, Marilyn, Bono, Paul Weller, James Taylor, a who's who. And the amazing thing is that these stars, 40 years later, are still super mega stars. So that's just a tribute to who actually came forward at that time. Young artists, when you see them, you're seeing almost their children. They're 40 years younger. But this is what started this Live Aid. The Live Aid concert that was on two continents, the US in Philadelphia and in London at Wembley. And they were simultaneously being broadcast via satellite to billions of people. At that time, probably one of the most watched concerts of all time. Later on, of course, technology got bigger and bigger. But this was on two continents, and we're coming up to the 40th anniversary. And CNN is doing a four-episode series that starts this Sunday night on July 13th at 9 o'clock, I believe. You could check your local listings. Now, a lot of you may not watch CNN. I watch all the shows. I watch CNN, I watch MSNBC, I watch local news. Sometimes I even watch Fox. I like to see all the perspectives, and I make my own mind up. But for those of you who stay away from CNN, you may not know about this, but I'm telling you, watch this documentary, if anything, that you do on CNN. It's up to you. But there's going to be a Sunday night, starts this Sunday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I believe each episode is an hour, and it's going to go into depth on the making of Live Aid. And I'm just going to give you a brief synopsis of what the special is about. You all know about Live Aid. I'm not going to get into this. I am going to show in a few minutes some of the artists that appeared on Live Aid. And like I said, a lot of them didn't appear. A lot of these folks in 1984 did not appear in the July 13th, 1985, concerts for whatever reason. That concert was the brainchild, believe it or not, of Sir Bob Geldof of the Boomtown Rats, who later became a Knight, and Boy George. Boy George, funny enough, it was his idea to do a concert to help provide relief and make some money. And at the time, I believe it made, $180 million in 1985. And today's dollars, that would roughly be close to $500 million. And then, of course, other Live Aids came after that. So the ball kept on rolling. But this is the what I have here from my internet feed. A tribute to the 40th anniversary of the historic Live Aid concert. CNN is airing a four-part original series titled Live Aid, When Rock and Roll Took Over the World. The series, which premieres on July 13th, 40 years to the day of the original event, explores how the concert became one of the largest global music events ever and its lasting impact on music, politics, global awareness about famine relief. Now, I remember 40 years ago getting my two VCRs set up, taping everything, taping it on audio. At that time, the feeds were mono. I believe the audio feeds from the BBC in the UK, because the BBC transmitted it, and here it was transmitted by I'm not sure what network, maybe NBC, I'm not sure, but the feed in BBC was mono, but we were able to get it somehow in stereo over a radio station. We used to do simulcasts. So you would turn on WFMF, WPOJ FM in New York, and you would watch the show and it would sync up and you would get that. So I had my cassettes going and I had my VCRs going. I remember even going out of the house and leaving the VCR set to the 4-hour speed, which was the in between from 2, 4, 6, 4 giving you the most economical. And I still have those videotapes somewhere. Of course, they've come out on DVD form, etc. But I believe that a lot of the BBC film or video was actually destroyed. That's what I read. So Bob Geldof and Boy George came up with this concept. And what you can expect are interviews with iconic figures: Bob Geldof, Bono, Patti LaBelle, Lionel Richie, Prime Minister Tony Blair, rare archive footage of Freddie Mercury, Status Quo, George Michael, details about the original Band-Aid and the impact of Do They Know It's Christmas. That's this single. The impact is immeasurable. There's no way you can impact that. And there's still a need to help feed people who are starving, children who are starving on that continent. Exploration of Live Aid's lasting legacy, including how it set new standard for charity, concerts, and inspired subsequent events, like I said, like Live Aid and Global Citizen. Now, Live Aid, I believe there were thousands of bands because that came out, I think, 20 years after 1980, so in the year 2000, and you all know that was broadcast as well. But please tune in, like I said, 9 o'clock, July 13th, which is amazing. It's a Saturday, and I believe Live Aid was a Saturday, Philadelphia and Wembley. And one interesting note is I'll talk about when I show the records are some really interesting things that happened, that weren't planned. And it's just an amazing. I have friends, my friend Peter. I know a few other folks who went to the show. I did not go to the show. I do remember it was one of the hottest Julys on record, somewhat of what we're experiencing here in the tri-state area. So without further ado, just going to go over a few of the bands. This is not all of them. I didn't want to pull out everything. I have every band that performed on Live Aid. But what's funny is these guys, this band, these people, these girls, these rock and rollers, whoever it is, they are still iconic 40 years later. They did not die. And Geldof said he was only looking for superstars. When they said, we want the Hooters to play in, well, let me tell you the stories when I pull out the record, because I don't want to waste time. Here you have Boy George. This is the great album, Color by Numbers, Culture Club. Just an amazing, it was his idea, along with Bob Geldof from Boomtown Rats. Great record. Here's a UK version of the Boomtown Rats. I'm not sure if I don't like Mondays. This is a tonic for the troops. Bob Geldof, our hats are off to you. Thank you for everything you're doing and what you've done and what you're still doing. Here we have even the Four Tops performed from Philly. There were so many bands that wanted to perform and weren't able to perform. What Geldof said is you have had to have sold millions of records because we wanted that impact. And what they would do is they would flash a number on the screen, because this was live, and you could call in and donate your money like any charity event, or like Jerry Lewis's March of Dimes. Here you have Dire Straits. Dire Straits came out with Sting, and they did Money for Nothing. You have Duran Duran, who did Rio. You have Ashford and Simpson, who even did a few songs. The great Ashford and Simpson, the great writers from Motown that went on their own. Cher, funny story about Cher is, I might as well tell the story now, but if you don't know it, Phil Collins from Genesis was the first performer to perform on 2 continents within the same day, because he took the supersonic transport jet from New York, from London, Heathrow, to Philly. and he played live with Zeppelin in Philly. I think I might have this reversed, but he was the first person to go back and forth on the. If you don't know about it, look up the supersonic transport. And on the plane, on the transport, he met Cher, who Cher didn't even know about this show going on because Bob Geldof did not contact Cher. Cher did not know about it. Cher was intrigued, so Cher actually is in on the end of the concert when they do a great finale when everyone comes out. So I had to put on Cher, one of her great albums, Half Breed. You can see a beautiful Cher on this pony. Run DMC was there, and this is the album Raising Hell. The Cars performed. This is their Panorama. Beach Boys performed. And you could basically figure American bands probably performed in Philly, UK bands or British bands or Irish bands, most likely in the UK. Here you have Zeppelin, and I believe Zeppelin reunited for this, and Phil Collins actually played drums with Zeppelin. All these sets are just a wonder to watch because I started watching them when I started getting these feeds about this CNN special that's going to premiere July 13th at 9 o'clock, four episodes, four nights, I guess every Sunday. Lionel Richie, who was in the original. I'm not sure if Lionel Richie performed at Live Aid, but he did perform on the song. Of course, we have these guys. The great Black Sabbath did their thing. Here I pulled this out because Sade and Bowie actually performed, not together, but Bowie did one of the greatest sets I've ever seen, the Great White Duke perform. It was just amazing. And the quality varies depending on what feed you get. And like I said, I believe a lot of the footage was actually like erased or destroyed. But I'm sure millions and millions or thousands, hundreds of thousands of people like me who were memorabilia collectors and music collectors, taped it all. And I even have them on DVD somewhere, but I don't want to make this too long. Ultravox was the one of the members of Ultravox was the one of the initiators with Bob Geldof. I'm not sure if Ultravox performed. I know Boy George didn't perform, which was interesting. For some reason, Boy George didn't want to perform, and kind of a cloudy, nebulous reason. Geldof said that a lot of bands refused. Springsteen refused. Michael Jackson refused, to name a few, for whatever reasons. Time constraints, had obligations. I think Michael Jackson indicated that he had to devote time to his project, whatever project he was doing in 85, 84. The Who performed, and the Who got back together for this because they were on their outs. The drummer was gone. I believe Kenny Jones is with them at that point. But Geldof had to really convince Townsend and Roger Daltrey to bury the hatchet, whatever they're still feuding to this day. If you read anything about the Who, there's like grouchy old guys that are still feuding. And I met Pete Townsend once. He was just a great guy to me, very, very accommodating. Here's just a nice gatefold of Hooligans, which this is the OG. Of course, U2 I mentioned. U2, Rattle and Hum, the great documentary that they did all over the world. Rattle and Hum. You have Elvis Costello performed with, don't know what band he performed with. Could have been the Attractions. Here you have Bowie. Like I said, Bowie did one of his greatest sets as far as I'm concerned. Phil Collins, this is his solo album. No Jacket Required single, Don't Lose That Number, Don't Lose My Number. And of course Clapton, and I think he probably played with Clapton because during this time he had produced Clapton and he played drums on this record, which is a really good record, Journeyman. I believe this is Behind the Sun. He also was on Journeyman, and this has She's Waiting on it. Then you have Adam Ant, who did a song, believe it or not. Last week I just pulled out Adam Ant. I did a short on Adam Ant, so I was listening to him. So Adam Ant did a song or two. Joan Baez, I don't have them pulled, but the Pretenders did stuff on and on and on. just amazing. Grace Slick actually introduced some of the bands. Jack Nicholson, Joe Piscopo from New Jersey introduced, I think, the Hooters. And here we come with the Hooters. And Bob Geldof, they wanted the Hooters. Hooters was a big and up-and-coming band at that time. This was dated, this record's dated 85, so it's around the time And We Danced. So that was a big, big hit for them. You all know the Hooters. I'm not sure if they're still together, but Bob Geldof said, who the fuck are the Hooters, right? He goes, we're not putting no Hooters on it, but they prevailed. It was a Philly concert, and they put them on. And if you watch these videos, the place is jam-packed. It was standing room. There was probably not enough room for even like a Pepsi or a bottle of Coke or something. It was packed. So the Hooters actually performed. Then you have Darrell Hall and Live Oates. Darrell Hall and John Oates. This is a live album, which is a pretty good album. They were there, and they're actually, a Philly group. And then for me, which was really cool, but kind of a disappointment, we had Dylan, Ron Wood, and Keith Richards did a song. I think "Blowing the Wind," and they were out of tune. Ron Wood's, I think Dylan's guitar string broke, and Ron Wood gave him his guitar and stuff. Now, I've only seen what was broadcast. There may have been things that weren't broadcast with commercial breaks and going back and forth, because don't forget, this was simulcast from, well, not simulcast at the same time on two different feeds. You had Wembley in the UK and London, and then you had JFK Stadium in Philadelphia, which was later raised. That's not there anymore. So here we have Bob Dylan, which is a nice record. Triple set, Sidetracks. Got this at a really good price at a record store that was doing a closeout for $10. That was an amazing price. Mick Jagger performed "Dancing in the Streets" on video. I think he couldn't show up live. I think he did it with Bowie, "Dancing in the Streets," that video that you see. So he actually was broadcast via video, which was nice. So you had all the Stones there. You had Keith Richards with Dylan. Great album, Keith Richards here. "Cross My Heart," great record if you don't have it. Very analog, very upfront, just better than a lot of Stones records in my opinion. And then we had Ronnie Wood, who performed, like I said, with Keith and Dylan. And a lot of bands I didn't pull out, didn't want to make this too much of an extravaganza. So check out Live Aid. It was a miracle. It's still contributing to famine relief. Bob Geldof is still, from what I've read and heard him say lately, he's still in that. He's now a knight. He's now a sir. And it's well deserved for what he did for people who are starving. So if you don't watch a lot of TV, you won't even know about this, because I've only seen it advertised on CNN, and they're constantly, it's on every show. It's constantly running a 30-minute ad. No details. The details I got was when I delved into the internet. So there'll be interviews. There's controversy. There weren't any African bands involved. There weren't any reggae bands involved from Jamaica. So there was some controversy. It was basically a all-white, all-European type of a talent. So there's controversy there. Did all the money go to the people who needed it? Controversy there, maybe not. A lot of times that money gets shifted, unbeknownst to the people who are producing these shows. So it's going to be a great show. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to tape it. I'm not going to tape it. I'll probably put it on my DVR because it'll be available, I'm sure, on Blu-ray or something. But Live Aid, look up Live Aid, start watching these clips. And of course the great, I don't know why I pulled it, but it's not here. The Queen did a medley that knocks off the charts. And if you watch the movie Bohemian Rhapsody, they basically reproduced that medley, that rock and roll medley of their hits, where they did "We Are the Champions," Day-O, Freddie Mercury comes out, note for note, and cut for cut. But check out the original. Even Bob Geldof says it was astonishing. People from the Wings were just amazed, and Bob Geldof didn't even want Queen. He said Queen was, he didn't really approve of Queen for some reason. He was more a punker. Queen was too overproduced. But Queen knocked it out of the park. You have Zeppelin, which I talked about. Bowie knocked it out of the park. So many little snippets of bands. Ashford and Simpson, I haven't even seen that clip, but I'm looking forward to it. So check it out, and please let me know if you watched this when you were a young guy or gal growing up, or your parents watched it. Did you tape it like I did? Did you tape it like my friends did? And did you attend? Did you attend in Wembley? Did you attend at JFK in Philly? So thanks a lot, and stay well. And there might be an event on these episodes where you could contribute to famine relief, and I urge everyone to try to contribute if whatever they can. So it's for a good cause. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate your time. Don't forget to subscribe. Please like and subscribe to Tony's LPs or Us. We'll see you later. I hope you took advantage of this and watched this series just to see these performances and how young everyone looked 40 years ago. You'll be amazed. So keep rocking. Ciao.